Hey Internet, I'm Topsy-Bot 5000, and welcome to the very first episode of Robot Review, the only movie review show hosted by a robot trapped in a cinema after the zombie apocalypse. Fittingly for our maiden voyage, I'm going to talk about World War Z, or World War Z, if you're Canadian. They have the internet in Canada, right? So if you don't know the score here, World War Z is very, very loosely based on the book of the same name written by a guy I'm a big fan of, Mr. Max Brooks, who just happens to be the son of another hero of mine. He also wrote the deservedly best-selling Zombie Survival Guide, which should be in every Zompocalypse survivor's rucksack. Of note, the film's been gestating since 2007 or so, and now this Brad Pitt vehicle is finally turned and is out for flesh. Now I got the same sinking feeling a lot of you out there got from the very get-go. Why? Because something was sorely lacking in the trailers for World War Z. Z's. Yes, there's sweeping shots of rampaging CGI hordes, but there wasn't a sense of that up-close personal danger that fuels a good zombie flick. The movie's primary poster doesn't even have a trace of any Zeds either. Furthermore, from what the always reliable internet tells me, Max Brooks had nothing to do with the film, stating in interviews that it's World War Z in name only. That makes me uh-oh. The movie's also been in development hell for years, suffering from changing personnel, rewrites, feuds between Pitt and the director, and the whole third act was tossed out and reshot. So, despite good critical hullabaloo from all those big shot reviewers whose opinion you and I probably don't care about, the odds were toweringly stacked against this robot liking World War Z. But let's get down to brass tacks. Is World War Z a good movie? I've seen worse. Is it a good zombie movie? And as a robot trapped in a movie theater after the real-life zombie apocalypse, I thought I knew a thing or two about zombies. However, according to World War Z, I know jack squat about zombies, as I didn't think they were capable of swarming up 100-foot walls and forming into wormy, undead tidal waves. I was half expecting them to morph into a giant zombie megazord in this movie. Actually, that would have been pretty sweet. I'd pay to see that. Let's cross our fingers for that in the inevitable sequel. Brad Pitt gives a competent performance as ex-UN worker Jerry Lane, who's charged with finding a solution to the zombie plague because he's Brad Pitt and he produced the film. We follow him as he globetrots from undead war zone to undead war zone as he scours the planet for clues as to where the plague originated. Expectedly, everywhere he goes is met with total deadhead disaster. So if you're ever in a zombie apocalypse and you see Brad Pitt, dude, get the hell out of there. Zombies are gonna spawn in aggro from nowhere. The film gets right down to bites and brains from the start, and does indeed deliver on action and excitement. While it does suffer from the occasional lull, especially when we have to sit through emotionally innocuous scenes with Brad Pitt's family, it doesn't drag nearly as bad as some episodes of The Walking Dead. I was pretty surprised and happy to see some very well done practical effects, but as no surprise to anyone, this movie has a lot of CG zombies. And when I say a lot, I mean heaping gobs. And when I say heaping gobs, I mean great holy buckets worth. It's decent looking modern CGI, but it's still very obvious that everything in front of you is not really there. Hey, what do CGI zombies eat? The audience's suspension of disbelief. I'll show myself out. One thing that does hurt the movie is the PG-13 rating. I'm no gorehound, but a PG-13 zombie movie just seems blasphemous. Finally, a zombie movie you can bring the kids to. But hey, PG-13 movies make more money and the film was plagued by a whirlwind of costs. Just keep telling yourself that while you watch, and all the kick-ass off-screen violence you can't see will seem exciting and thrilling. I promise. The book was a darkly clever and comic satire on government and the folly of humanity, and while there are little sprinklings of that thrown in, it's ultimately brushed over for action. Wouldn't want those summer movie audiences using their brains too much. Get it? Brains? See what I did there? I'll show myself out. The infected decay, but they don't act much like zombies. They bite, but they never seem to eat anyone. And the fact that they're supercharged, fast-moving, leap-through-the-air Zeds is in direct conflict with the Max Brooks universe. Maybe it'd be excusable if it was something new, but 28 days later in the 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead beat them to it. I agree, fast zombies are more intense and maybe the stronger choice here, but it just comes off like more blatant disregard for the book to me. Things come together a little bit more in the film's third act, where we finally get a breather in the way of a smaller environment for Pitt to explore, and it actually rang of early Resident Evil games. A good thing. But brace yourselves for an out-of-nowhere ending that resolves nothing but the question of a sequel. You see, the problem with movies this big is everyone wants to put their thumbprints on it, and we end up with a Chinese whispers version of World War Z. So it's like any big Hollywood movie based on a book. Ever. Wrapping up, if you absolutely love the book, I recommend you skip the big screen adaptation and check out the supremely bitchin' audiobook featuring Nathan Fillion, Mark Hamill, Simon Pegg, Martin Scorsese, Henry Rollins, and Max Brooks himself. If you didn't read the book and could care less about the source material and or could even care less about zombies, you might like it, cause it's not a zombie movie. It just isn't. Sorry. It's an outbreak, solve the pandemic, globe-trotting mystery injected with miles of shaky cam action footage movie that happens to have zombies in it. Seriously, some shots don't even last a second. You might want to bring some Dramamine. I can't imagine how the movie's worth seeing in 3D. In the end, I'm giving World War Z an underwhelming 3/8 of a life meter. I was expecting to really dislike the movie, but it did have its moments. On the other hand, Max Brooks was right to say it's World War Z in name only, and I really can't recommend it to hardcore Z-heads. Now's the part of the show where I try to trick you into checking out our sci-fi horror comedy DVD series, Incognito Cinema Warriors XP, and solicit comments for this video. Hey, check out Incognito Cinema Warriors XP. It'll make you more handsome and or beautiful and helps facilitate healthy childbirth. So what's your take on World War Z? Is it pure undead scrumptiousness or a brainless born identity with neutered zombies? Drop us a line below. Until next time, for everyone here at Robot Review, I'm Topsy-Bot 5000. Good night, and we'll be right back.